And we are back. Happy Fashion Forward Friday. I'm so excited about the next two gentlemen that I have coming. And one of the things I wanted to do is share a clipping last year from Career Day 2021. I think this really supports the importance of this conversation. So take a listen.
My son, he designed a shoe and he keeps handing it to me this week as part of a fashion event we attended. He would love me to show this to you guys. He painted this.
I love it. Oh my God.
I don't think you guys wanted this level of improvisation, but it's...
That's a conversation last year. It was a breaking news moment with Sheena Young. And so Dr. Dwayne Edwards, Dion Walcott, welcome. That just supports that, sneaker is our culture. Everybody from youth up loves sneakers. I know we're going to have a really rich conversation. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you too. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
I'm here.
Absolutely. So let's just jump right in. I think that conversation, Dion, when we first spoke, you talked about people knowing, because I didn't know, I was the person who wanted to be in fashion. The difference between sneaker design and I think sneaker artistry. Talk about that a little bit.
I'll leave Dwayne to talk about sneaker design because that's the guru of that space.
Okay.
I think, artistry on sneakers could be looked at a couple different ways. The main way I look at it is, it's a form of your expression. Yep. So, you use the artwork to put on your feet to hopefully share some story or narrative that brings people, brings awareness to people of something that's going on personally or that's going on in the world. We've done a lot of art on sneaker competitions with that in mind, where you use the sneaker as a canvas to either send some sort of message or share a story, and sometimes even building the story on your own. So I think art on sneakers is a little bit different than sneaker design, but they're like cousins, they're still in the same space, in their form of expression. So I would leave it there from artistry on sneakers.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would say you're right, man. They are pretty much related, where when you, from a design point of view, we start with a blank piece of paper. And from that blank piece of paper, all of those things that Dion mentioned has to be considered in the construction and in the creation of. But fundamentally, they are, if you don't have a car, and even if you do, they are your mode of transportation. But it's also a status symbol. It makes people feel good about themselves if they have on a fresh pair of shoes. You walk different when you have on new shoes. So when you have on fresh kicks, like that fixes your whole outfit. Like the rest of your outfit could be busted, and you got on some fresh kicks, and you get a pass, right?
Exactly.
But no, it's evolved. To your point, it's evolved from kids doing it on the outside, customizing and adding graffiti or adding art. You see them in corporate boardrooms now, right? You see them everywhere now. And so it's grown beyond what was once known as maybe a teenage thing. Now it's just become a totally acceptable part of your attire.
Right. And as we thank you both for that, because I see sneaker, just sneaker. As we start this conversation, in my reading, what I've found is that some women might not feel that they're welcome into the industry. So as we start, I want to make sure that women feel welcome. Dr. Dwayne, I believe you've been very supported. I believe some people were selected women. I think it was maybe 5 for your school. So talk about what words of encouragement do you have for women who are interested in being in the industry?
Specifically, if Black women, you are you don't exist in our industry. Our industry is looking for you, actively looking for you. I'm working with multiple brands right now that have created very specific initiatives targeted towards Black women with the idea of diversifying this industry, not just from a race perspective, but also from a gender point of view too. It's a male-dominated industry on the performance and lifestyle side. It's male-dominated. When it goes to fashion, women women are on the fashion side, but they're not really they don't really exist on the performance and lifestyle side. So I honestly only know about 20 of them. And I don't think there's too many more than that in the entire industry. We're talking 15, 20,000 designers. And to be able to use me and Dion's hands to count all of them that's in there, that's a problem. So I could tell you that you're an endangered species, and the industry's looking for you. I'm looking for you to get you a part of our programming, so we can properly serve you up to the right brand that fits where you see yourself going. Because I think that's also important too, is just because a brand is hiring, they may not be a good fit for you. And so what we try to do is help you understand where you feel you want to contribute in the industry and what brand best aligns with that, or you create your own. So there's many ways to get in.
And talk about that a little bit more, really determining if that brand is a right fit for you. What are some things they should think about?
If there's more than 10 Black people there, because there's a lot to be said about culture. There's a lot to be said about being around like-minded people and people that you can naturally connect to and resonate with. It's difficult being the only one. It's difficult being the only few. It's difficult, right? And me personally, like, I was always the youngest and I was always the only one. And it wasn't until years later I realized the damage that actually did to me, because I lived in two different worlds, where I was working in this white world the majority of the day, and I go home to my Black world, and they couldn't coexist. Like, I couldn't go home and talk about what happened at work, and I can't talk about what happened at home at work. And so being able to adjust to living in these two different worlds is tiring. And, as Black folks, we have to do that on an everyday basis, depending on industries that we're in. But we don't understand how much we miss that part of our lives, that we don't get a chance to authentically be who we are.
I think also, just to piggyback on what Dwayne said, just because I know a couple of his programs, like there's the SEED program here in Brooklyn. Shout out to Liz, Sharice, and Tamika that are over there. But on the flip side of that is, like, it's still hard. Like, so if you're a Black woman, you want to get into the industry, like, a SEED is a great gateway to get in, but, like, be prepared to work.
Yes.
Because it's not going to be easy. Like, I think, the perception is, oh my God, this is an amazing program, Dwayne and Adidas have put together. But once you actually get in, like, that's just the start, right? Like, it's not going to be easy, because there's an access to education program. The work starts, like, when you get in. Now you have to be the change agent, right? So, like, you're not only doing it for you, you're doing it for everyone else that's going to come behind you. So I think that's an important piece to also remember, because, we always talk about, we need more entryways, but once we create the entryways, we need people who are ready to work and make it happen. So,
that's good. That is so powerful. That weight, and that's a whole nother conversation, so I'm not gonna go there. But talk about what they can expect with a program. I think you call it SEED.
Yeah. SEED.
What can someone expect entering a program like that, and what do they have to do to have access to a program like that?
Well, shoot, first one is follow Adidas and SEED on social channels, because that's how you can be notified. That's the simplest barrier of entry right there. But the program is an amazing program, as Dion mentioned, created by Jessica Smith and Sharice Thornhill Golston and Liz Conley, where they kind of did a little bit rogue, right? Where they identified an opportunity, and that opportunity to be highlighted. And that opportunity was Black women in this industry and sneaker culture. And what they didn't want to do is just create a program. They want to create truly a life-changing experience. And so it's 2 years of you being able to work inside of an organization and get paid while you're learning the ropes of how to do the job, where that's on a different level than a lot of people are taking it right now. And what they've been able to do in the 2 years that, the program, 2.5 years they've been in the program, where there's 6 women, all of them now are employees of Adidas. The plan is to attract, create the visibility for the career opportunities in this industry, then provide an authentic pathway into careers, into those opportunities, and doing it at, one of the bigger brands in the industry. That is the type of learning and the type of placement that needs to happen in all fields. But specifically for us, because it wasn't designed for, okay, if you're a college graduate or if you have these credentials, the program's designed to meet you where you are. It doesn't matter if you went to college. You graduated from high school, we good. Talent is talent.
Dion, you have anything to add on that? Or
I mean, I think just on the journey of it all, like, I've had the pleasure of seeing the program. I think just people doing the homework before you actually get to the start of it, like knowing what you want to get out of it, versus like, I'm going to show up at Seed and they're just going to teach me everything. I'm a strong believer that like you're going to enter into something, you might as well research it, so by the time you get there, you're in shape. Right. So like, you're going to show up to camp out of shape, then why are you going to camp?
right.
So there's only 6 women out of hundreds of people who actually apply. So I would say do the homework before you actually apply, so you know what you want to get out of it and what stream you want to actually take. Because the last thing you want to do is be one of the 6, and then when you get there, you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's from seeing the process from the infancy to what it is now. Just doing some of the pre-work, like understanding like where are the entry points into the industry? Where do I want to live? I've seen so many people who want to go into design and then take design and think they're going to throw an event, where it's like, are you wasting people's time if you want to do an event and you're going through the design lens? So there's a lot of work you can do before you actually decide what you want to do. So I think that's an important piece.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that work a little bit, knowing, talk about, let me back up, because I just ran all the way in, but I just talk about why somebody should consider a career, in the sneaker industry, and then let's talk about the various opportunities and take a glance at each of them. Why do either of you, Dion, we start with you, think that someone should consider a career in sneaker industry?
I mean, as a Black person, I think because we are, probably the biggest consumer of the sneaker industry, but then when you're behind the board, we're probably the minority of the sneaker industry. So like, the energy for me is like, how do we change that piece first and foremost? Of like, since we're spending billions of dollars in the industry, how do we start getting some people that actually can build a career in the industry, that actually help support the people that are spending all their money? That would be one. And I think you hear sneakers and you automatically think of like what's on your feet, where there's so many other ways of, being supportive in the industry. So to me, it's like, I'll give you an example. Someone who has had a run-in with the law, they're tailored towards construction, right? Where it's a labor job. Where it's like, what if we were starting to now teach people like, the sneaker industry has labor jobs and you could be around things that you like. Yep. Right? Like, why don't we start changing the trajectory of like, what is actually, labor? What is a space that's passion? Like, can you follow your passion versus like, you might have made a couple tough decisions in your life and now you got to do something you don't like, which I think the sneaker industry presents many different ways that you can do something you like. Dwayne has, done a great job being in design, but like, you may not be someone who's going to be in design. You may be the person who sets up, the set for a commercial, and you do that well, but you're still around cool shit. And you enjoy your life. So I think that's, to me, one of the biggest things, as especially for Black people, like just understanding that like sneaker industry is part of a wider industry, which is the creative industry. And when I was in high school, that was not something that they even offered us as a gateway or as a pathway. It was like, hey man, what do you like to draw, or you're creative? Okay, you should work at a bank and be a teller.
Right.
So I just think that, the sneaker industry is a gateway drug into the creative industry where there needs to be more Black people generally. So that's why I would encourage people to explore the sneaker industry, because we all wear something on our feet. So why not walk into the industry that way?
Mm.
I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dr. Doe, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, he covered a lot of it. But if we want to talk money,
Let's talk.
if we want to talk money, designer, entry level, depending on the city, 70, 80,000 a year. Color designer, someone who creates the colors based on the style that someone else created, same, 65, 70, 80 grand a year. Where imagine, I'm sure all of us have done this at some point. We go into a mall or we go online and we see something like, oh, it'd look better if it had that color over there, or if it did this or did that. That's a job. Like that is a job. Someone gets paid to pick colors. Someone gets paid to pick materials. Someone gets paid to decide what shoes someone should create. Someone gets paid to do the engineering. Like there's so many levels of opportunity within the industry that I'm sure if you saw the spectrum of it, you would see yourself in one of those areas, right? Now, the challenge that we're working on is to get the industry to tell everyone what those opportunities are. Because that is the part that's missing, is that you can't go to a website and look up all the jobs in, the sneaker industry, right? Even if they're just the design versions of it, because there's even multiple versions of those jobs. We're trying to help change that. And so as we progress throughout this year, we'll start posting those careers up on our website so people can actually see, and we'll post up the salaries. But we have to do that not for the participant, we're doing it for the parents. So the parents could actually see this is a viable career opportunity for their youth. Because right now they discount it as, oh, this that sneaker thing, right? I know 13 and 14-year-old kids making loot every month flipping sneakers. Along the way, they're learning finance, they're learning budgeting, they're learning negotiation. They're doing all these things through a sneaker that they would not want to learn normally if you presented it to them the way normal school presents those things to them. So there's a lot of opportunities in our industry, and they're waiting for you, right? But to Dion's point in the previous question, like, it's not going to be handed to you,
Right.
At all. No.
And let's talk about that. What is,
No.
I'm not going to go to that conversation. I tell people, you don't give your jewels away for free.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, I'm gonna go here a little bit. A lot of people don't understand, okay, yes, this is nonprofit. I have to generate money in order to give you, to supply you for program.
Right.
And at the same time, the reason my sneaker kings and the professionals are behind the gateway of a paid event is because there's got to be a commitment on your part. If I give it to you, you might not come.
Yep.
How many times do you register, I'm just saying, for a free event and not show up?
Right.
And at the same time, I'm giving you an excellent opportunity to put money back into the community, which we as a people have to learn how to do, because the money that we raise over our production goes into a scholarship that we give to you.
Nice. Nice.
So with all of that said, talk about some of those responsibilities. You're not just handing things because you want them to, get it. But what is their role? What is their responsibility? What mindset should they come with trying to enter the sneaker industry? Any industry, really, but.
I do this for our students all the time, right? So we provide free education for the majority of our programming. And my agreement or my ask is for you to give me everything you have for a set period of time and be open for me to show you what your best looks like. Okay. And then on the second layer, that I explain to them the importance of their existence. Because if I didn't do what I did back in the day, it wouldn't be someone else next, right? Getting them to understand that what they're doing, exactly what you said, is bigger than them. It's bigger than them. And sometimes people can't handle that responsibility. And so we just focus on them, right? Like get the skills right, learn, but we have to actually show them what that looks like. We have to show them what professionalism looks like. We have to show them what their best looks like. And a lot of times they've just never been challenged to get the best out of themselves by someone else. But I put a carrot in front of them of a job and an opportunity.
Yeah.
And you got a choice. Either you're going to rise or you leave. There's no middle. I'm a very black and white guy. For me, second place is the first to lose. Either you win or lose. Like there is no middle. And for us in this industry, we have to have that level of focus. We have to have that level of importance because there's so few of us here that when we do get a chance to be in those organizations, we need to rise above those that are there so we can be seen and noticed, because it's not enough just because we Black, we got there. The real work starts when you get there.
Yep, I agree with that.
That's where the real work starts. And the hardest part of the job is dealing with people. That's the hardest part of the job. I mean, you see what's happening with our judge, our Black female judge. That's corporate America. They're gonna say some things that's gonna test you.
Yeah.
And you can't go to work like Dave Chappelle and keeping it real go wrong. Like you can't do that. You cannot do that.
Yeah, you're out of luck then.
Yeah. So it's not just skills, it's how you carry yourself, your behavior, you're a professional, present yourself as a brand, be something that someone wants to pay for. The same way you buy brands, you create your own.
Dion, you have anything you want to add?
I think similar to Dwayne, I mean, the work I do is in the partnerships and program side of things. So the platforms I create usually are to expose talent, like to, so people know that they're there. And what I tell people all the time, just because there's a platform for you to showcase your skills, you still got to prepare. So there's so many artists and, creative people who show up to a competition or a contest or a workshop, and they just show up and be like, okay, well, now I'm ready to learn. And it's like, but you knew you were coming here like a month ago, right? And like, you didn't decide, you didn't have any thought in your brain that I should prepare for something. You're just going to come in and show up and start fresh. That's like going to training camp starts on next month, and I'm just going to now walk into training camp with 20 pounds overweight. Right. This doesn't make sense. So, I mean, for a lot of people, there's great opportunities in Pencil and all over the place. But like, once you get in, it starts once you get the notification that you've been accepted. Not when you reach to the actual campus and you meet Dwayne for the first time. Because if you meet Dwayne for the first time and you ain't ready, then you're probably not going to see the best side of Dwayne.
It'll be a problem.
Right. I can tell you that already. So the moment you get an opportunity and someone says, you know what, you've been accepted to SEED or to a Pencil program or to a MARC program, that's when the preparation should start. If I could share anything with young people trying to get in or anybody trying to get in, start to prepare as soon as you get the opportunity, not when the opportunity starts.
Yeah. Let's go back because I really jumped. Talk about you talked about design. Let's highlight some of the careers and what you're about to do. It's amazing you went there, because I always ask a question about what people who don't have, so I'll ask it now, people who don't have the support of their family, their parents or friends, what words of advice do you give to them?
Which one? Is it family or friends? Because one of them means more than the other one.
Right.
So talk about both.
Well, family, right? Sometimes, I won't even go there. Sometimes people don't know what they don't know. And what they do know, they try to share it with someone. And sometimes they may not realize that their dreams are not the same as the person they're talking to's dreams. And so whether indirectly or directly, sometimes people kill people's dreams and they kill people's opportunities, where you have to have your own dreams. You can't have someone tell you what your dream should be. Like, dreams are free last time I checked, right? So it costs $0 for a dream. That means there should be no limits to what's possible in your head, right? Now, unfortunately, we are mostly influenced by what we see. That's where ideas come from. That's where our aspirations come from, right? And it starts with that. It starts with what you allow into your body. It starts with what you allow into your mind. If you're limited to the 2 square mile radius of where you grew up at, that's as far as your dreams will go. And most of the time, that's not that far. But to me, like, I think that this generation that we have in front of us have no excuse. When I was growing up, I didn't have Google. Like, there was no internet. What? I had the Yellow Pages. Y'all know what the hell a Yellow Pages is, but I had that. Okay, where the opportunities that you have are limitless if you're looking in the right places. I think we have a tendency to entertain ourselves with complacency based on what we allow both people and experiences into our lives. And some of that is dictated by television. Like right now, if you pop on, there's no positive Black programming on TV. Like Oprah tried, right? Dopest name for a network ever, right? Owned, like that's power, right? And she tried to start this network with good programming and positive insights and everything else. Look at it now, though. Because guess what was happening? She wasn't getting no sales when she was positive, encouraging, and doing all these things. When the negative stuff came in and the drama stuff came in, that's when all the money started to come in. But we have no idea how that impacts us. When we watching screens and all you do is hear somebody screaming and women half dressed, men don't take them serious because that's what you're showing, and there's no positive influences, that seeps into our existence. And that's how we then start to behave. And so we really do need to change how we consume things. I think it's Einstein that once said, if you keep doing the same thing over and expecting different results, that's an idiot does that, right? So I think for me it's you need to surround yourself with people that are better than you, and that might not be your family, and that might not be your friends either, and that's okay. That is okay, because we're so emotionally tied to our friends and family. They still gonna be my family. I might lose some friends, but I probably need to lose them anyway. So I need to get some new ones. And there's probably some relatives we need to lose too, but they blood, so they've got to stay. But no, you need to be around who's going to be better than you and who's where you want to be. That's how you're going to get closer to where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dwayne covered a lot of it. I think one thing I would highlight, we live in this very social media stage. Where everything is measured, your success is measured, or even your influence is measured through social media. I think, your friends and family, they look at the end of the line. So I call it the checker line, where like, we just did this amazing thing, but you only see the production or the end of it. Right. So I think, if it comes to friends and family, it's like, sometimes it's going to sound crazy, but don't share.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you don't have to share everything.
Yep.
Right. You got a circle of influence that breathe positivity into you and what your dreams are. Then that's your circle of influence. It doesn't need to be 1 million people. Yep. Instagram doesn't need to know, what I just did a drawing today. Because what you're also doing, you're also inviting negativity, because as much as someone gonna be like, yo, that's dope, there's someone gonna be like, oh, you still doing that sneaker stupid shit?
Yeah.
Right? And then in your mind, depending on where you at, that you may not be at your top that day. And, that may penetrate you and that may bring you a whole different direction. So I always say, like, keep certain things that you believe that your dreams are close to your heart. Yeah. And you don't necessarily need to share with everybody. And you know, the friends that are encouraging, keep those close.
Yep.
And Dwayne just said something like, I think, you know, as a Black community, like we try to stay inside of our circle a lot, you know, that's kind of how we're bred, because that's our security blanket.
Mhm.
But when you start thinking about things you've never been able to even know exist, the first thing you got to do is step out of your security and reach out to someone you think has done it or the way you want to do it, or just take a risk, you know, because your friends and family sometimes could be limiting because they haven't done it, especially in the creative field. Like my mother right now, she doesn't know what the hell I do for a living because, you know, developing programs and partnerships was not part of her life. Like that doesn't even exist.
Right.
You know, so the only way she measures what I'm doing is, are you happy?
Mm.
You happy doing what you're doing? All right, then keep doing it. I don't have to understand it.
Right.
But there's other people in my family be like, man, your son's wasting his life with this creative stuff. He should get a job at the bank. And it's like, you know what the truth is? I make more money than your whole household.
Right.
So like,
Right.
But I don't want to flex on you. I'm just saying at the end of the day, like you're telling me to go a different direction just because you don't know.
Yeah.
You have no idea, right? And like, and it's not about money, so I want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah.
It's more just about like people will influence you on what their ceiling is, not what you want your ceiling to be. So, you know, take your time and pay attention to who you're sharing what your dreams are and who you're working towards getting your dreams done with.
So powerful.
You get more done in silence anyway.
Absolutely.
You know, Dr. Evans, I think I heard you mention something about social media being a time suck.
It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time.
It's a fake life.
It's totally fake life.
It's a tool. If more people realize it was a tool and didn't use it for, you know, self-gratification, make yourself feel good, you would understand what it's, because if you really look at it, like I'm talking about Instagram, it's like Instagram's thinking about charging people for your feed. So like you're now gonna pay to look at Dwayne's feed. So like 10 of my friends I can see all the time. Wow. Like think about that. Like 20 years ago, I could just pick up the call and Dwayne, how you doing, man? You good? Now I'm about to pay $10 a month just to see what Dwayne's doing every day. I don't understand that. Yeah. Right? And people don't understand it's a tool. It's not real. Yeah. Right? So think about it from that. Like you about to pay $10 a month to see what your friends are doing. For me, when I was young, what that looked like is my mother saying, go outside and go talk to your friend and take a walk.
Exactly.
Right? Now you're in front of the screen. They're encouraging you. You're paying to stay in front of a screen where life is outside and you can learn it for free.
Moving on, because I'm not gonna dig into that one. So now I'm gonna go back again where I started, but I hear things and I just pick up on them. I'm thankful that you're gonna be posting those opportunities with the salaries so the parents can see that. That's gonna help one of those challenges. Can we hit on a couple of other careers and what that personality or skill profile might look for people thinking about the industry? So you talked about design. So maybe product marketing or development or biomechanics, any of those things I know nothing about. Wear testing. Talk about some of those opportunities and how people, you know, like I said, the profile of the person, the skills that they should have to pursue them.
You know, that's a long list, right? Okay. So what I tell my students all the time is I'll grab whatever's in front of me. Okay.
Okay.
And there's 9 jobs in this bottle. It took 9 jobs to bring this thing. And I'm not even talking about the liquid yet, where someone has to come up with the idea of, hey, you know what? We should have a brand. That's one job. And then somebody gets paid to decide, oh, it's called Pure Leaf. Okay, yeah. I need somebody to design the logo for it. Okay, and then, well, hey, you like color. What color should this be? Because it's pure leaf, but I need a color, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's like, okay, what material should we use for the logo that someone else created? But we want people to see the liquid on the inside. But we should make it clear, right? And then someone has to design the bottle. Someone has to engineer the top. And then someone has to be responsible for creating the CAD drawings to make sure it's the right dimensions before you spend all this money on the tooling to make it come to life. And then someone has to decide, well, how does it show up on this in the store? Like, that's someone else's job. Those are 9 jobs in a bottle of iced tea.
Sure.
That's how wide it is.
Wow.
That is how wide it is. Where I would start with, what would you do for free? Write that list down. And then whatever that list looks like, see if that's a job. Right? And when I was a kid, I didn't know designing sneakers was a job. I just liked to do it. And I did it for free for a long time. I like getting paid for it though, but I did it for free the first time. But it's like you have to start there because I'm always reminded of Mark Twain. He said, he had a quote, says you have 2 important days in your life: the day you were born and the day you discover why. I've discovered why about 3-4 times. Because every time I think this is it, then something else reveals itself that I absolutely love and would do for free, right? Now it's all connected to design, the first thing I fell in love with. But it was that thing that I loved and I would do for free. So I would say start there. It's not really about, it's in addition to the job, but it's like, what would you really want to do? And then see if that's a job. I'm still waiting to be Janet Jackson's Lotion Boy. That has not surfaced yet, but I do have that on my list. That is my list.
All things are possible.
I would do it for free. Yes.
All things are possible. Dion, you want to add it?
No, that was a good one. I think, similar to Dwayne, I work on, my job is more on the sales and pitching ideas, selling them through. So similar to what Dwayne just said, like that bottle of iced tea, someone needs to sell that through to put it in the store, right? Yep. So like that becomes my role. Like, what is the idea? Why should that be in the store? How is this going to present value? And, if we're going to, for people of color, for Black people, like we do that naturally, right? Yep. Like just think about it like something that you want to have that you can't afford having right at the moment. Go to the store and try to tell the person you want to, I can pay you $50. I'll pay you the rest later, man. Like we got that in our blood. So like what we just don't realize is like, that's a career, right? Like I live in Brooklyn. Like right now, someone's at the corner talking the most shit that you'll ever hear in your life. Right? And if I tell that person, right? Like, cause they try and get something, right? Say, oh, I can't get in the bus today. Listen, man, I'll pay you. Like they're selling. But they don't realize, like, once you put that and package it into a role, programs, director of programs, director of strategic partnerships, strategy, like think about, you and your homies, you want to get in the gym, but you only got $10 for 4 people, but it costs $10 from one person. You're going to sit down in the house and be like, yo, Dwayne, listen, so this is what to tell them. All right, cool. Dion, I'm going to do this. Cool. And you're going to roll to the gym and you all going to get in. Like, we've been doing that since we were 10 years old. Right. So now the only difference is, no one packaged that skill set and said, hey, you want to know what? In the creative industry, there's people like Dwayne who are amazing, doing all these amazing things. He needs help to actually sell it through Foot Locker. Dion, you could talk. You think you could help him? I'm going to show you how to do that. There's things, there's a pitch deck, there's strategy, all these different things that young people don't even know exist.
Right.
So I think, there's complementary roles on one side, what I call there's the business of sneakers, and there's the other side of like the actual creative side of sneakers, but the two work hand in hand.
That's good. Both. Oh my gosh, we could go so far on that. But I have to respect these gentlemen, my sneaker kings, as I call them. I want to remind, because the audience is 18 to 44, I want to make sure that you take the opportunity to look at the bios. I don't think you realize, some of you may not, but I want to make sure you realize what manner of men are sitting in front of you that you're able to glean from right now. Okay. anybody that has questions, because I see the timing, I have to be considerate of that. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat so I can share them with these gentlemen, because they have busy schedules. They want you to succeed, and that's why they short notice are here. So being able to ask gentlemen like this question, you better take advantage of this opportunity now. Now, mentors, you know, we always hear people talk about mentorship and getting mentors. We also talk about presentation, you know, how to seek out a mentor. What are some of the things that they should not do? Real talk, when trying to obtain a mentor, sponsor, either, or even a job for that matter. And what are some of the things that they should do?
You know, it's actually similar to what Dion said about the preparation part. You know, when you seeking out a mentor, you should know everything about that person. You don't send me a LinkedIn request saying, "Hey, you got time to talk about yourself over coffee?" First of all, I don't drink coffee. Second, I don't like talking about myself. So it's like, you started off wrong, right? You need to be prepared. And if you want mentors, you need to know everything about the person that you're requesting that mentorship from. And then you have to be respectful of their time and not offended if they don't get back to you the first time or the second time or the third time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes for me, that's a test. Like, you're going to reach out to me once, twice, 3 times. Okay, I'll get back to you after the third time because I know you're serious.
Mm-hmm.
But 95% of people tap out after the first time. So I would have just wasted my time.
Yeah, that's real.
Right?
Yeah.
So I would say learn everything about the person you're trying to select. But before you do that, identify the opportunity that you want in your life that person has. So now you're strategically talking to people who is going to get you closer to where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say you get the opportunity to get someone on the phone or on Zoom or whatever they ask you to do or tell you to do or suggest you to do it. And you follow up after it's completed in a timely manner, not 3 years later. And it's like, "Hey, remember me?" If you have to start any conversation with, "Hey, do you remember me?" That's a problem. Okay, that is a problem. But that is what happens. People reach out to people, they give them some time, and they disappear.
Yeah.
And they resurface when they are ready to resurface. Like that person's been waiting for them to come back to them with an update. Where you have to understand that if someone gives you their time, they're expecting you to execute against what was talked about and to follow up in a timely manner. That's called networking. You follow up with progress. You follow up with updates. You do that. But then if you don't do it, it makes it harder for the next person who reaches out to that person because they're going to remember the last bad experience they had.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think mentorship, I think the easiest one is just what not to do is not know what you want from it, right? Because I feel like, you know, I have not thousands, but a lot of people reach out, "Oh, Dion, I think you can mentor me." And I'm like, "Okay, around what?" And they're like, "I just want to do what you do." And I'm like, "Okay, but I don't got that type of time."
Right.
Right? Like,
Right.
I need to know what exactly you're trying to get done. And I might not be the person for you either, depending on what you want. Like,
Right.
I might have to direct you a different way.
Right.
I think that, you know, another thing, if you're looking to get mentored, I think a lot of the times we go towards like an actual physical person, where I think, you know, it costs $10 to pick up a book and read it.
True.
Right? And a book could mentor you that will lead you towards Dwayne. And when you have a conversation with Dwayne will be like, "Oh, this guy's rich. Like, he already has some stuff in his brain."
Mm-hmm.
Versus like, you just want everything from your mentor, and that's the start all and be end of everything. So I think, you know, books are a great resource. Like, I've been mentored a lot of different ways from books, where I'm like, someone else had this problem before. I mean, I'm pretty cool, but I ain't that cool to be the first one trying to figure this shit out. So it's usually in a book. And then once I feel like I have enough substance and confidence in like what I'm looking for, then I seek out an actual mentor.
Yes.
I just go ahead.
And people may think like, oh man, these dudes are being too hard. Like, yes, we are, okay? Because we didn't have the pathways.
Right.
Like we had to create the road.
Right.
And when we create the road, we absolutely made it wide enough for more people to join us.
Right.
Like that was the goal, right?
Yeah.
But I want to make sure I have the right people on the road.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to also continue to build that road with us so it gets longer and longer and longer and longer. If you just about self, that means you're not a builder. You're just taking the road and you're going to turn it in the direction you want to go. Where that happens a lot too. And that's part of that screening process to understand, are you really doing this to help other people? Like I'm willing to help you, or is it just about you? I'm not interested in that business. I have a simple ask of every person I mentor is you need to help two people. So it can multiply and you put that on the next person, right? It keeps multiplying.
Right.
But if you don't do that, we're not going to get anywhere. We're outnumbered in this business.
For sure.
And the only way we can change those numbers is through mentorship, is through unity, is through helping each other so those numbers can spread and grow. But if it stops with you, you did nothing to advance the culture. And someone gave you a chance to do it. And you didn't take full responsibility of what that meant.
Well, in wrapping up, I see it twist. Oh, good. I have a quick testimony, and then I have a question about career planning. Saturday, we're going to do, after we've had these conversations, we're going to talk about career planning and strategizing for where you want to go. But I just want to go back to something Dr. Edwards said about how the person might not respond to you that first time, that second time, that third time. I don't know if Dr. Edwards remembers or not, but I was one trying to connect with him on LinkedIn. He didn't respond. But he's sitting right here. Because I didn't give up.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm just testifying to what he's saying. LinkedIn really don't give you a lot of space to really get to somebody. You got to get to them right. And a lot of times you don't know what to say, but that's all right. Keep trying. Don't give up, because this is a testimony right here. He's sitting right here.
If you want something bad enough, you'll keep trying to get it. Like I tell all the young brothers I talk to about this. I was like, look, when you see a fine woman you like, you only gonna holler at her once. Like, so you step to her one time and she, says no or not interested, don't respond. You're gonna give up. Right. Or you're gonna go back in again. Okay, I'm gonna reset. All right, but reset, clean up a little bit, get some fresh shoes on, be a little bit different.
Right.
Okay, you go back in. Okay. At least she said no out loud. Like, okay, so you heard her voice. The first time you didn't hear nothing.
Progress.
Right? Yeah. So now you got a voice like, oh, okay, you come back again, cleaner, game is a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
You might say a sentence or two. You making progress.
Right.
You got to look at it as progress. And you keep going until you get what you want. We do it if we hungry.
That's real. That's real.
Let's talk about that strategy to getting. You talk about preparation. Well, I believe that strategy is a part of that preparation. Absolutely. What are some of the plans that they should put into place and realistic timelines for their career?
Carla, just before you move on, I wanted to say something. I think it's important to.
I'm sorry.
Just on Dwayne's last comment. I think another thing too, like, don't let pride be the killer.
Ooh.
I feel like, I had a conversation this week, and it was we're trying to develop a program for some young people around, taking an online course. And the conversation came up of what if someone doesn't have internet? And someone said to me like, well, it's embarrassing to reach out and tell somebody that we don't have internet. That's why we can't take the program. And I said, nah, it ain't embarrassing to reach out and ask for help. it's embarrassing that you have so much pride that you're gonna miss an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So like to me, it's more like don't let pride get in the way of an opportunity. And I think, like this shit is not easy, to be honest. Like, and what if there's a great opportunity with Pencil and you don't have internet and you have too much pride to reach out to somebody and say, listen, I think I'm an amazing designer or I think I'm an amazing human, but I have a barrier right now and it's called the internet and I can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way for someone to help me? If pride is the reason why you're not going to do that,
Right.
then you don't want a job. You don't want an opportunity. That shouldn't stand in your way. So I think it's very important. I mean,
It's
everyone
true.
on this call, I'm sure, has a level of pride.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like what you want to actually get done, nah, man, don't let pride be the killer.
Pride come before the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I thought
right.
that's very important.
No, that is very important.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to come to you. 2 minutes. Final thoughts. Career, anything from each of you.
Be undeniable. People are gonna try to stop you. Most of the time, like Dion just said, you stop yourself before you even start, right? So hopefully you can get past that and you become humble, right? Humility will get you a long way, a long, long way. But be undeniable. Like you can be unstoppable and a nice person. You can do both. You don't have to step on people and backstab to get where you need to be. But I think you first need to have that mentality of I'm not going to be stopped. That first no, okay, second no, third no, whatever. I'm still going to keep going. Yeah. Where if you have that mentality, like you could do whatever you want to do. And I don't want to sound like a cliche, but it's true. I'm a big Bruce Lee fan, and one of my favorite quotes from him is, "To hell with circumstances, I create opportunities." You give me some lemons, I'm gonna figure out to find some water somewhere. I could put it in my hand and squeeze some lemons. I'm gonna make lemonade out of it. When you become that undeniable, the world is gonna be whatever you want it to be. But when you don't, when you stop trying and you start blaming other people, and put a mirror to your face and tell yourself you're not going to be denied, and keep it moving.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think similar to Dwayne, I say to my circle or the people I'm around all the time, there's enough ordinary people in the world. So why not continue to try to be extraordinary?
Yep.
So, and when I say be extraordinary, it doesn't mean you're going to be extraordinary all the time. But when you're about to try to apply yourself to something that you haven't done or something you think or you're good at, the goal is for this moment in time, like I'm about to work for 3 hours, I'm going to put an extraordinary effort for the next 3 hours. And then when I log off, I could go back to being ordinary. But whatever it is, whether you playing basketball, you drawing, you working on a deal, to me, the mentality is like, I'm ordinary probably like when I get up in the morning. I do what everyone else does. I don't want to get up. I got to use the washroom, get something to eat. But then when I start, I'm like, okay, Dion, what does extraordinary look like today for you? And understand that looks different for everybody, right? But for you, the approach is ordinary is when you get up, but once I plug into whatever I'm going to do, how do I be extraordinary for that time that I'm doing what I'm doing?
Amazing. The chat response I get in the chat is, y'all giving real talk. Thank you for this real talk. This has been amazing. I so wish we had so much more time, but it wrapped up real fast. Thank you, everybody. We will be back at 4. We will be talking with Ms. Judy Townsend about the mannequin industry. She's out of California, so y'all stay on. We're going to be talking about the mannequin industry, the history in it, and how they've been, which I didn't realize.
I just learned something right now. I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest.
Exactly. And I'm like, shit, I need some mannequins for the college. We need to talk.
Okay, so I will connect you with her. And I'll go ahead and share the announcement since you said that. she's on the West Coast. Me being on the East Coast, she was looking for someone on the East Coast that could be a little her, I call it. So I'm actually partnering with her to start offering the mannequins here in New York. So,
Oh wow, that's
Congratulations.
crazy. Good for you.
but I will put her in contact with you because she's able to help me do it here because she has people in New York calling her in California.
Wow.
So now she's feeding it to me so I can pick them up and our people can get access to them. So amazing.
She got them black mannequins, right? Not the skinny, skinny ones.
She can help you get them.
All right. Okay. All right.
She'll help you. Look, she'll help you get them.
All right. Okay.
All right, gentlemen. I'll see you later, and I'll see everybody else at 4.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right,
Thank
cool.
you.
Have a good night. Goodbye.